The leaker Kaka has returned and the Pokemon Company responded to the recent Nuzlocke controversy. Let's take a look. All right, we got a lot of things to cover today. Let's just dive in. I'll save you guys a lot of effort. Eurogamer put out an article talking about the stuff that we talked about in the previous video, about the drama, the Nuzlockes, the randomizers, etc. And Pokemon Company has come out with a statement that says, the Pokemon Company International does not have any issues with fans or creators playing the video games with Nuzlocke rules, which is pretty much what Sarah B. Joe had said and kind of what the overall consensus was after we really dove into what was being said. Now, it's important to recognize that things can change. It could be Nintendo having a different opinion. It could be Pokemon Company International versus, you know, Game Freak in Japan. I mean, listen, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, what the conclusion here is, they don't care if people play Nuzlockes. There are issues with randomizers and hacks and things of that nature. So again, I wouldn't stress too much about it. I think it was a whole lot of drama out of really nothing. I'm impressed and surprised that they responded, though, if I'm being totally honest. But I think we can put this behind us now and kind of just move forward to talking about tree textures and other issues. That was a joke. So let's talk about the rest of the stuff. We've got some information here about Geeta. We believe, actually, there's a few things that are pointing to this, and I'm going to talk about a couple things here. First things first, Riddler Koo says, do you think Titan Champion, or, you know, Scarlet and Violet Champion, using a poison Terastal is cool and sick or not? So indicating that they're going to use a poison Terastal Pokemon. And then we also have this flower Pokemon, which we have an image that leaked very, very early on in the game. This is thought that this might be from Geeta. This may be Geeta's Pokemon terastalizing into a poison type. So that's kind of the theory going on right now. We'll have to wait and see kind of how that comes to fruition. But I thought it was interesting nonetheless. This Pokemon, obviously, I remember when this image first leaked, I thought it was fake, obviously, but it seems to be real. This is a new Pokemon, and it is a poison Terastal hat, which we haven't seen before regarding those Terastal hats. And speaking of Terastal hats, there's an artist named Nordist who actually I had followed from some other stuff in the past. Really cool artist. They had put out some pictures of what if each of these Pokemon had special Terastal types for specific hats, right? Much like Gigantamaxing gave something special to those particular Pokemon, and they drew some different concepts for if these various Pokemon had their own Terastal forms, and I thought that they were amazing. Terastal Hatterene getting this like giant witch hat, becoming a ghost type, which is super cool. Terastal Sudowoodo becoming a tree and getting this like really cool like tree hat, exactly the tree that Sudowoodo always wanted to be. Terastal Klinklang getting this like really futuristic kind of flying device instead of getting balloons. I thought that was really cool. So what we do know at this point is that there's going to be no custom special form Terastal hats for any Pokemon in the base game, but I think there is still hope for the DLC. We know there's a DLC that's being worked on. We know that Virizion and Suicune are going to be in those DLCs apparently with Paradox forms, but it's still possible that they can add like new Terastal forms through that, and I personally would like to see that. I think that would be a really cool thing. I don't know what they add to it though, right? Like Terastal already gives a tremendous buff to specific types and changes your types, so like what does that special hat do? I don't know, but I think it would be cool. It would be cool to have certain Pokemon have like special forms. And again, I'm a little surprised that it's not in the base game, but I guess it's a feature that can work with every Pokemon. But even when you go back to like all the features, right? Like Mega has special Pokemon, obviously. Z moves, there were special Z moves like Let's Snuggle Forever or whatever with Mimikyu and all the different ones, right? 10,000 Thunderbolt Tackle or whatever they're called, right? You know, Gigantamax forms had their own forms. So it is interesting that, you know, it seems as though there's not going to be anything special for these terastallized Pokemon, at least up to this point. We know Team Star is going to be broken into a handful of different kind of groups, and they're going to represent different typings. The theory right now is that it's Fire, Dark, Poison, Fairy, and Fighting, and a recommendation from the leaker Kaka is that you should do it in the order of Fire, Dark, Poison, Fairy, and Fighting, or you can swap Fighting and Fairy. So depending on how you traverse around the map, that's going to be the recommended. And there's been already some posts about recommended gym order, things like that, because the trainers aren't scaling. They're not going to get harder or less hard depending on what your levels are. They're going to be the same. So like if you skip gym 1 and just play the game and then have to come back to gym 1 later in the game, gym 1 is going to be like level 15 or 20. You're gonna steamroll them, right? So that's why there's some like kind of recommendations in terms of maybe the best order to go. And I think that time will tell. Like once the game comes out, I'm sure people will find like optimal paths and things that'll make sense in that regard. Before I talk more about the leaks and rumors, I gotta tell you guys about the brand new drop on TeamShiny.com. We just launched 3 brand new t-shirt designs. These have been requested for so long. Absol, Flygon, and Gardevoir, 3 of the coolest shinies of all time available right now. And believe it or not, code summer is still running. So if you pick up 3 shirts or more, you actually get a pretty significant discount. So check it out over at teamshiny.com. I'm rocking my Charmander shirt today. Pick them up, teamshiny.com. Swag out your closet. You'll look great. We got some sweet new designs. Let me know in the comments if there's a Team Shiny design that you don't see on the website that you want us to make, because we're always listening. But like, not in a creepy way. We're not always listening in a creepy way. We just like want your feedback. Okay, now we're gonna dive into some stuff from Soul Silver. And Soul Silver is one of my favorite people on Twitter. Always coming out with good stuff. This is actually them tweeting and kind of expanding on Light88 in their comment. But listen, we know we have these different Titans in the game, hence codename Titan. We've got your boy Cloth. We've got this earthworm Pokemon, we've got this big bird, we've got this fish thing going on with the sushi, so on and so forth. What if these different Titans are tied to the functionalities that you have on Koraidon and Miraidon, right? Like, we know this is open world. We know that we get Koraidon and Miraidon relatively early on because we're going to be able to traverse the region with them. But there's going to be some limitations. Like, we're not going to just be able to surf right away, it seems, or swim right away, basically, right? So maybe it's the Titans that block that off. Maybe the Titans are what kind of constrict you from doing certain things, which I think makes sense, right? Like, I really liked how Legends Arceus did it in the sense that, like, you unlock these different ride Pokemon as you play through the game. You're combining all those ride Pokemon into one legendary in this game. So I think that there's got to be some sort of checkpoints. And I actually personally don't have a huge issue with that. Like, because one of the things I enjoyed about Legends Arceus and I enjoy about games like that is the idea of, like, once you get something, then it makes it worthwhile to backtrack and, like, explore more down the road. I played some fan-made Pokemon games that did that really well, where, like, some of the early routes, and Pokemon has always done that, right? Like, in a 2D kind of setting where, okay, here's, you know, cut, but you don't get cut until the first gym, so you gotta backtrack. I don't really mind that, especially if the rewards for backtracking are worthwhile. Now shifting gears, we're gonna go back to our engine Pokemon. We are very confident that there is an engine Pokemon in this game, tied to Team Star somehow. But now there's a thought that maybe it has a pre-evolution. Pokemon leaks here circling this little engine on the side, the little engine that could this be a pre-evolution of this engine Pokemon, which we believe to be Poison and Steel, by the way? Soul Silver also dives into it and says, this could be a really tough to call, could be a pre-evolution, could be another piece of the main engine that connects back to it, or maybe it's just nothing. It's just there for aesthetics. It looks too similar to be a pre-evo, but at the same time, maybe they purposefully hid the back end. Maybe this actually is a little pre-evolution Pokemon. Blaze and Cineroar making a comment about it as well, thinking like, could this be a pre-evo? We're not exactly sure, but definitely some interesting stuff there regarding this. So keep an eye out on that. We'll see. I think they're going to eventually reveal this engine Pokemon. And I think that we'll probably get some reveals soon-ish, right? Like, I know we just got Grafaiai. We just got some reveals from them, but I could see them kind of ramping things up because they really haven't told us a ton yet, and we're not that far away from the game actually launching. And last but certainly not least, Central Leaks reporting on the fact that NVIDIA employee has confirmed by accident the existence of Tegra 239 SoC. This has been rumored since 2021 to be the SoC that will power the Nintendo Switch's successor. There's been so many rumors forever about Nintendo Switch Pros. The thought maybe is that they got delayed because of the chip shortages and things like that. But ultimately what this is indicating is that the next generation of Switch most likely is gonna have a much like buffed up internal setup in terms of like what it can do for graphics and things like that. And Centro is reporting that it's an oversimplification, but handheld mode is going to be similar to like Xbox One level of abilities, and docked mode is going to be slightly better than PS4 Pro. So they're saying that DLSS will be a game changer. Now this is something that I don't know a ton about. I'm not a big tech guy, but I thought I'd put it on your radar. Again, with this, we've had so many instances of the Switch Pro rumors going around. I think they were trying to put one out and then they had to pivot and do the OLED because chip shortages and stuff. But I think that they're trying to put something out there. I wouldn't expect it until next year at this point, but obviously the release of you know, the new Tears, I forget the name of it, the new Breath of the Wild, you know, Zelda game. That's always an opportunity for them to release a new Switch to kind of handle that update, provide new hardware. So we'll see how it all plays out, but we'll be keeping an eye on the Switch Pro leaks and kind of what that turns into. And that's pretty much that for today, guys. Kaka has returned, but hasn't said a whole lot, but that's a good sign that they might be coming back and dropping more information. Don't forget to head over to teamshiny.com and pick up some sweet merch. We got those brand new designs, Absol, Gardevoir, Flygon, and we've got so many other designs there, like my Charmander, Umbreon, Mew. Amazing designs. So check them out, teamshiny.com. And that's gonna be that for me, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.